Greetings! Welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese, and this is your weekday dose of real talk. This is where culture meets coaching, where healing meets headlines, and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. Thank you all for tuning in. I am Osha Cerese, certified life coach, event curator, and dream doula, supporting you on birthing your dreams into reality. Welcome back. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, please do so now. That is where this show lives, youtube.com/@Osha Cerese. And don't only subscribe, also hit the notification button, because this is a pop-up show, so you never know when I'm going to pop up. And I want y'all to be here with me, present. Sometimes we do our little late night vibes. I might pop up in midday, one day. I might even pop up early on y'all one day. Who knows? But until we get a standard time, make sure you have your notifications on so you won't miss out on the live show. And to catch up with any of the other episodes, go to my channel and go to the live tab. That is where the Osha Cerese Show lives, because it's a live show, y'all. Live and in action. Welcome to episode 40. We're doing good. We're going strong. Episode 40, that's a big deal. So cheers to episode 40. We have the drink of the evening is strawberry lemonade. But cheers to a great show. Cheers to happiness, love, success, abundance, and peace of mind, great energy, and fun times. Cheers. Y'all know I got to get my gulp on. All right. So thank you again for tuning in. This is episode 40. I'm proud of myself. If nobody else is proud of me, I'm going to pat myself on the back. For 40 episodes, that's a big deal. No other show that I've ever had have I done 40 episodes, other like as an individual. I got to give my recognition to Table Talk Thursdays, which is my first experience with the podcasting space. My family podcast, Table Talk Thursdays, coming back soon. I've been a panelist on Table Talk Thursdays since, I think 2014. So over 10 years. But as my own individual endeavors with podcasting, I've had the Cool Weirdos podcast. I want to say I have maybe like 18 episodes of that over the span of like 3 years of doing it. And then my Connections and Conversations, we got 6 episodes so far. That's coming back soon. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for April. So I'll make some announcements on that soon. And then we got the Osha Cerese Show, baby. I was doing something called Sensual. Oh, I have a twist that I didn't catch. Sensual Saturdays. I used to do a live video every Saturday evening on IG. And I probably did that about 4 or 5 times. So I'm really proud of the Osha Cerese Show. It's been the most consistent that I've been for showing up. And that's a big deal for a solo podcast, because I don't think y'all really realize how much effort it takes to talk for over an hour by yourself with no guests. And we did have our first guest last week, which was not a planned thing at all. It was just someone who had something to say on the topic that I was speaking on. If you want to go back and listen to it, it was on the episode where I was talking about passport bros. I think the title of it is something like, "Are Black Men Finding Love Abroad or something like that, if you would like to go back and check it out. So that was our first impromptu guest. So I will consider having guests on the Osha Cerese Show in the future as well. I have a lot of topics that I want to discuss with having guests. And then, of course, Connections and Conversations is a platform for guests. That is my show. It's also about self love, self discovery, healing, intentional dating. But it is the main purpose of Connections and Conversations is bridging the gap between men and women. So on that platform, I like to have a man or a woman, a man and a woman guest at the same time, or someone who is more tapped into their feminine energy, someone who's more tapped into the masculine, or just multiple opinions on a certain subject. So I will be putting out some information about how you can be a guest on Connections and Conversations very soon, and possibly how you can be a guest on the Osha Cerese Show. So we'll talk about it as it comes up. Anyway, honey, we are celebrating Black History all year long, and we're celebrating Women's History Month in March. So, where we're at, March, it's technically March 19th now. But today's Black History or Women's History Spotlight is going to Angie Stone. So, as we all know, Angie Stone recently passed away. And there's a topic that I'll be discussing today. So I wanted to make sure that I honored her first before we get into this topic. So, she is a musical icon. She has been an innovator in multiple different genres and very talented. And, I love me some neo soul, and I'm sure you do too. So she was born Angela Laverne Brown on December 18th, 1961 in Columbia, South Carolina. She grew up in a deeply religious household and was heavily influenced by gospel music through her church upbringing. Her journey into music began as a teenager when she joined the first ever female rap group called The Sequence in the late 1970s. They were signed to the legendary Sugar Hill Records and made history with their hit single Funk You Up in 1979. That song became one of the first rap songs by a female group to become a mainstream success. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough. Like, we talk, especially when we just celebrated 50 years of hip hop not too long ago, last year or the year before? Why weren't the Sequence honored? The first female rap group, that's a big deal. Um, After the Sequence, Angie evolved into a neo soul powerhouse, as we most popular, most of us know her for that. Um, she became known for her soulful voice and heartfelt lyrics, delivering hits like No More Rain in This Cloud, one of my faves, Brother, and Wish I Didn't Miss You. That's another one of my favorites. All of those, I love those songs. Her contributions to neo soul movement it earned her critically acclaim, so, solidifying her status as one of the most influential voices of the genre. She also collaborated with some of the greatest voices in soul and R&B, including her baby daddy, D'Angelo, where she played a significant role in his Brown Sugar album. They dated for a little while. She, is just an amazing talent. Her resilience and dedication to her craft will be remembered forever. Um, and so we want to say that we honor Angie Stone and her legacy and her work that she put into her craft and the gifts that she shared with us. And rest in peace. So I definitely wanted to honor Miss Angie Stone before I get into this next topic. I don't know if y'all seen it on the blogs today, but we all know that Monique has had a lot of beefs in the industry over the years. Shout out to Commander Alpha Turkey. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Monique has had a lot of beefs, most of them stemming from her experience working on the movie Precious, where she starred, where she won an Oscar. Um, The beef has been between Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry. So she's been calling all three of them out for years. She has not been letting up. She has not taken her foot off their necks. Her and Lee Daniels squashed their beef. I'm not exactly sure how all of that came about for them to finally let go of whatever their issues were. But they recently, in the past couple of years, squashed it, and she's actually been in a couple of Lee Daniels films since then. Her and Oprah Winfrey, they still been beefing. She's been calling her all kind of bitches and hoes on the tour. When she's on Cat Williams' comedy tour, she ain't letting up on Oprah's neck. I believe her main issue with Oprah stemmed from Oprah invited Monique's family members onto her show without Monique's blessing. Or it may have not necessarily been the fact that she invited them, but also the fact that she was getting, they were talking about things that were sensitive to Monique as well. Like, I believe her brother harmed her as a child, essayed, and they were talking about things like that against Monique's wishes. So that's really where her and Oprah's beef stemmed. And then, of course, with Tyler Perry, it has something to do with payment, not getting paid fairly, not being treated fairly, and just feeling like they've blackballed her in the industry. They told people that she's difficult to work with and basically stopped her bag. And so she's furious about it. She feels like they took money out of her family's mouth, and so she's not letting up. So the reason I'm bringing this up now is because today Monique was in the blogs writing an open letter to Tyler Perry, and we're going to read the letter. So Tyler Perry, if you didn't know, he just recently, I don't know if it was technically the eulogy for Angie Stone or if he just did a speech at Angie Stone's service, but he was getting his preach on. He was sounding like a Southern Baptist preacher, and he did a great job with the eulogy. In the speech, he was talking about how she was mistreated in the industry, how she didn't get paid what she was supposed to get paid, how, he referenced her song, No More Rain in This Cloud, beautifully comparing it to her transition, and saying there's no more rain in her cloud. He did a good job, but enters the chat is Monique. Monique enters the chat with the open letter to Tyler Perry, and it goes as such. Let me zoom in because the letters are small. We would like, and I don't like to use the word assuming, but I'm pretty sure she's talking about her and her husband/manager. We would like to give our heartfelt condolences to Angie Stone's family and friends. Sister Angie, we stand on the shoulders of the elders and ancestors like you, so please know that your fight inspired us to write this letter, and that the fight doesn't end with your passing, as it is only the beginning. Dear Tyler Perry, she tagged him too. I recently watched your heartfelt speech at Angie Stone's funeral, where you expressed frustration over her mistreatment by the music industry. It struck me and my husband, Sydney, as poignant, but also made us reflect on some unsettling discrepancies in your actions toward me. 1. You expressed anger over Angie's mistreatment, yet you labeled me difficult to work with, despite never having worked with me. How can you condemn poor treatment of others when you've imposed the same on me? We have audio of you admitting you were wrong. 2. You asked, where's the money she's owed? Well, where's my public apology that you promised in 2016? The false narrative you perpetuated helped blackball me, costing me tens of millions. Where's the restitution for that? 3. You mentioned being tired of us not receiving the benefits we deserve. Yet you asked me to promote Precious for free, without a contract or compensation, which highlights your double standard. 4, you said we should be careful in how we treat children of God. As a man of faith, where is your responsibility to act with love and truth? You promised me an apology years ago, but it's yet to come. Unlike the music industry, which you rightly criticized, we have audio documentation of your actions. Shouldn't you be held accountable too? In closing, I hope your words at Angie's funeral inspire you to correct the wrongs done to my family and me. You have the power to do so. As you've shared biblical teachings, please remember, what will it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Mark 8:36. We await your response. With love and respect, Monique and Sydney. Now, I'm usually backing Monique up. I think that she has been advocating for herself and speaking up about unfair payment, um, racism in the industry, being blackballed, calling out people that are billionaires that other people would be afraid to call out, all of that. And shout out to Gary Busted Down Brown. Great evening. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the support. She's definitely, been a whistleblower for some of the things that goes on in the industry. And she has not held her tongue, and she has not allowed anyone to silence her in the things that she is unhappy with. And I normally am rooting for her when it comes to that because, why should people be silenced? Why shouldn't people get what they earn? Why can't we call people out that have harmed us? Why can't we hold people accountable? What makes you untouchable because you're a billionaire? If you've done wrongdoings, um, call them out. I get all that. But in this instance, I just think that this was inappropriate. I think that it was inappropriate to take this moment that was in honor of Angie Stone, her life, her legacy. Her people are still grieving and mourning as they will be forever, but this is still fresh. Um, I don't think that she should have utilized this moment and put Angie Stone's name in it and referenced what he said about Angie Stone to compare it to her situation and to shine light on her situation once again. Now, I'm not saying that however long ago that things happened to you is no timeline of when you should stop standing on business about it, because she did say that the apology was promised to her in 2016, which probably meant the wrongdoing was done before that. So over 10 years ago, this is when it happened. Why choose this particular moment to address this? I just feel like that was very inappropriate. And she has been known to do things that are unconventional and traditionally inappropriate when it comes to this situation with her, even when she was going back and forth with D.L. Hughley, and she was bringing up some of the things that have happened, some traumatic things that happened to his daughter. And then it's always a reason and an excuse, and there's a press conference from her living room with her husband slash manager. And I think, at some point you have to be like, all right, now, sis, auntie, mama, whatever you reference her as, you are doing too much at this point. That I think it was distasteful. And I think it was disrespectful to her loved ones to take this moment to make it your soapbox to stand on. That's not cool. So again, I definitely think that if she feels like she's owed an apology, money, opportunities, whatever it is that she needs Tyler Perry to do to rectify their situation, call them out, send them messages, send them a letter, sue them, do what you got to do, but don't bring up nobody's loved one that they're grieving and mourning to make your point. I just think that that was distasteful. And I definitely think Monique is her own, has a mind of her own, is a strong woman, is a confident woman, is intelligent. But I also think that most of the things that she does, she, of course, considers her husband slash manager's opinion and suggestions. So I'm not sure if he is the one pushing for her to constantly bring this up, or if it's a mutual decision, or if it's her and he's supporting her and what she wants to do. I'm not sure. But I think that somebody that she respects needs to be able to hold her hand as they say this and say, sis, I understand how you feel. I agree with you. I support you. I love you. But that was not right. That's inappropriate. So let me know what y'all think. If you are watching live or if you watch this back, am I the only one that thinks that that was highly inappropriate to do? And I would say that I do think that Monique has been through a lot when it comes to that situation, and I'm sure that's terrible, a terrible feeling to go from having such success in television with the Parkers and then getting your movie success, getting into, movies and having such a big role as Precious and winning an Academy Award and going from this high and these accolades and this success and money and opportunities and all of this to somebody sprinkling some false information and having you blackballed so nobody else wants to work with you, or having somebody bring your family on their show and expose things that you don't want exposed. All of those things are very traumatic. And so that is why I have been supportive of her calling it out and being upset about it. But I do also see that she needs to do some intentional healing around all of it. Because even if she still calls it out and talks about it and holds people accountable, which I think everyone has the right to do for people who have harmed them, I think that the pain behind it is so much in the forefront that she's hurting more than anybody else. She's suffering um, with this, and you can't get the time back. You can't get the money back. I think she really wants Tyler Perry to cut the check, or Oprah. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And I think it's probably even more painful, or maybe not even painful, but like irritating, agitating, triggering, for her to know that Tyler Perry pays very well. All of the people who have worked with Tyler Perry give him those accolades and give him the recognition of being someone who pays well above what they even expect to get, or what they even request to get. And so for her to know that this man is a billionaire, he's got so many opportunities because he's constantly writing movies, putting them out. People who have worked with Tyler Perry, been to Tyler Perry studios, know he don't play about time. He will write something, get it casted, film it, and have it out, edited and out in months. He's not taking a whole bunch of years to do things. He's constantly putting things out, and he's paying very well. So you can tell, I don't know, can you? I can. That it'd be like some petty stuff going on Tyler Perry's end as well, because of course everybody's talking about how well he pays, and then also it seemed as if when Monique really started coming back out again a little bit more, like heavily with the back-to-back conversation about it, like right around the time she went on Club Shay Shay, and even before that, and like being on Cat Williams tour and talking about it a lot. Um, if you look at season one of Beauty in the Black, or see both seasons of Beauty in the Black, and then there was that other Tyler Perry film. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was starring Megan Good. The person that played Megan Good's mother-in-law is the same woman that's one of like the madams on Beauty in the Black. She kind of favors a Monique. She has a Monique aesthetic. So it's almost like he's saying, girl, I hear you talking. I don't care about nothing you talking about. And not only am I not going to give you any opportunities, no public apologies, restitution, or anything that you're thinking saying or requesting from me, I'm going to pay everybody else big money. I'm going to have them talk about it on every platform and interview that they get on. And I'm going to hire somebody that favors you to let you know that you can be replaced. Anybody can pick up a talent like you, that look like you, that acts like you, sound like you. Because the lady kind of sounds like her too. So I see there's some Tyler Petty going on. So I do think that Monique should do some intentional healing if she's not gone to therapy or done whatever healing looks like for her. Done some type of release, or gone to a retreat or taken some time off to just really truly let all of that go. Let release all of that anger and resentment and bitterness, and truly just get that out of her system. And I hadn't talked about this per se yet. I don't know if I will talk about it on an episode, but I do want to highlight, if everybody used to watch America's Next Top Model, and recent years, people have been bringing up those clips and really saying how they felt like those girls were traumatized and abused and went through a lot on that show. And a lot of it was coming from Tyra Banks. And there's been a lot of exposés and documentaries and interviews and podcast episodes about Tyra Banks being unfair and abusive to these girls. And one of the America's Next Top Model contestants, Yaya, who was runner up under Eva, she has been one of the people that people speak up for and speak out about her treatment. And she's kind of like, she has evolved. She's holistic, spiritual. She's acting. She played Whitney Houston in one of the movies. She, she sells head wraps. She's had other acting opportunities. She's moved on professionally from modeling. She still models, but she's moved up and done other things and had other opportunities. But you could tell that she also did have those same feelings that everybody else did about Tyra Banks. And she talked about how she recently saw Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks was at Black Women in Hollywood. I think it was a Essence event in LA. And she did an impromptu speech, and she kind of talked about how, she didn't always get it right when it came to America's Next Top Model, but she's not going to let anybody destroy her legacy. And people were kind of looking for an apology from her to acknowledge the things that she did. I guess that was her way of acknowledging it by saying she didn't always do it right. But Yaya talked about how she saw Tyra Banks in a area where she was going to get some pictures taken, and they haven't spoken to each other or engaged with each other since America's Next Top Model. They've been in similar rooms or the same rooms, but just ignored each other and act like they didn't see each other. So she said she went up to her, she embraced her, they talked. They didn't really acknowledge what happened, but it was almost like she forgave her in that moment, and she wanted to embrace Tyra Banks to make her feel that energy that she was forgiven. And she was just saying how light she felt after doing that. And she was saying how it's almost like a switch once you forgive someone or reframe a situation, how that weight is off of you instantly. And so I just thought about that just now as I'm talking about Monique. You don't have to forget, and you don't have to let up on how you feel about it. And you don't even necessarily have to forgive anyone either, but just releasing the emotions that come with not forgiving, like resentment, bitterness, anger, hurt, pain, all of these things that, are weighing you down and really probably preventing Monique from having other opportunities. She's getting back in there and getting some opportunities. She's, been on BMF with 50 Cent, gave her some opportunities. She's on the tour with Cat Williams. She has some other movies and things that she's doing. But I really think that if she kind of stopped letting that be her platform and her personality, to always bringing up Tyler Perry, Oprah, and wasn't bringing up Lee Daniels, and just allow that to be like, you know what, I've exposed y'all. Everybody knows what you did. I know it. We're not gonna pretend it didn't happen. I feel like this is what's owed to me, but whatever. Um, I'm healing from it. Whatever's supposed to come to me will come to me. But it looks like she ain't letting up, so I don't know. Sweet Tea Inspirations on Instagram. Hey girl, hey. She says, yes, I agree that was extremely disrespectful to the late Miss Angie Stone and her grieving family. At some point, Monique needs to pray for forgiveness and let go of the bitterness and hatefulness. I agree. I just think that that's gone too far. So I want to actually read, because I hadn't read any of the comments under this, but let's read some of them. The first one says, this can't be an appropriate time to make this about yourself. Someone else said, Auntie, wrap this up. I wish Monique would just leave Tyler Perry alone. She's the only celebrity I know that talks negatively of him. I see one of my aunties in the comments say, you are difficult to work with, Monique. Look at the way you're behaving. Very disrespectful to Miss Stone and her family. I get it, but damn, how do you make somebody's death about you? Facts. Angie can't have her moment even in death. You're proving his point. You are difficult. Everything is not about you, Auntie. Maybe somebody can help me understand, because all I hear y'all saying is let it go. But I don't know if I would ever let it go if someone calls me to be blackballed, missing out on millions. But what do y'all think? I get that part, but why bring Angie Stone and her legacy and her moment into it? This is not the time to make it about you and air your grievances. Why is Monique making this all about her? This is not the time for this. It's Angie's time. Don't dim her light. Tyler Perry won't respond or acknowledge this. I'm honestly at a loss for words. Monique, please stop. This isn't about you. Please just stop. So yeah, pretty much everybody is disagreeing with her doing this. And that was under the blog post about it. Let me go directly to her page and see what they're saying. And I guarantee you, her and her husband gonna be calling a press conference from their living room to talk about how people have responded. So someone said, oh, Stephanie Mills commented and said, I agree with you. And here goes Monique. You know, she loved when people was on her side about it. She said, this means so much coming from you. Thank you so much. Love you, sis. Someone said, if it wasn't the wrong place for Tyler Perry to call out the industry at her funeral, then it's not the wrong place for Monique to give her perspective on social media. Why do we feel the need to place Monique's response to the unwarranted and unfair disrespect and treatment, but not call out the injustice? It is always about you and your beef with the industry. Have several seats. Monique is that person who will make almost any and everything about her. This ain't it. It's time to go heal now. I get it, but something about the timing don't sit right with me. Somebody said I gotta unfollow you after this. It must be mentally exhausting to stay in victim mode day after day, year after year. Did Mo just make this matter about her? Oh, come on, not the right time. Just not the right time. Okay, someone else said, did you think about her children when you wrote this? They just lost their mother. Don't use this occasion to air your issues. This is in poor taste. This looks bad. How are you any different from those you are questioning? Death is not the time to throw stones. Rest in peace, Angie Stone. My prayers are with the family. Monique responded and said, should I wait until the moment has passed to speak up for not only my family, not for my family, not only Angie Stone's family, but for every sister's family who has been violated by the business, especially when I know the man's name who violated me? Or would you prefer for me to pass, for me to have my moment of truth? I am taking notes from my sister Angie. She spoke up while she was here, and I am too. I get how she's trying to spin it, but at the same time, even if she would have acknowledged it without even bringing Angie Stone's, like, she posted her picture. Let me see the post. The post is from a blog, and it has Tyler Perry talking, and it has Angie Stone's face there. And, you know, you're bringing up Angie Stone. I think there was a way, even if you wanted to reference it, she could have just kept it about Tyler Perry and what he said. Like, I saw what Tyler Perry said recently, not even acknowledging where you heard it, and just say, I heard him saying a lot about the music industry and this and that and this, and I don't understand how he could be so passionate about that when he's treated me this way. She could have reframed it, reworded it to not even bring up Angie Stone. So I'm gonna have to disagree with Monique on this one. Like, feel your feelings, say what you gotta say, do what you gotta do, but don't do that under somebody's loved one's post. Greetings to realists on here. Hashtag slide accordingly. Thank you for pulling up. So, yes, what do y'all think? If you're in the comments, if you are watching live here on YouTube or Instagram, give me your final thoughts on Monique using Angie Stone's funeral eulogy or a speech that was given to spin it and make it about her. And speaking of inappropriateness, another thing that hit the blogs today, Young M.A, the rapper. So Young M.A, she got popular a few years ago with one of her songs. I know how the beat goes. I know we was doing a little Bobby Shmurda type dance to it. But over the past couple of years, she had kind of disappeared from the industry. And then when we saw her again, she didn't look like herself. She had lost weight. Some people had saw her kind of, her eyes were yellow, looking jaundiced. Different things were going on that were telltale signs that she was ill. She did kind of acknowledge the fact that she had been sick, but never said what was going on with her. And I still don't know what happened to her. I don't know if it was, I want to say she said it had something to do with maybe, I don't want to misspeak. Let me see if I can look it up, because I didn't even look this part up. I just wanted to talk about the issue that happened. Let's see if there's any information. Yeah, I don't think she ever acknowledged exactly what it was. She just said that she spent some time in the hospital where she was successfully treated for several conditions, and now she was on the road to recovery. So she didn't never really specify what it is, and it's none of our business anyway. But that's the whole point of why I'm bringing this up, because whatever she had going on, she and her ex-girlfriend must be beefing right now. I don't know if they had a recent breakup or what, but her ex posted a video of her in the hospital looking very ill, yellow eyes, barely able to speak and moving slow, like just at her lowest, at her, being super sick. And let me read what this, I was about to call her name. Let me read what she put on here. So she says, there's like 2 screenshots of her story. It said, I cleaned your ass when you was shitting on yourself in the hospital and at home. And by the way, I do the leaving. I don't get broken up with, but why me leaving will also be mentioned. Girl. She said, when I first met you, you ended up like this within the next few weeks, telling me how you been sick but was hiding it from me. This was our first Valentine's Day. You was in the hospital twice with me. I got you to where you are now. I nursed you. Mind you, ain't no punctuation. I nursed you up every day, all day, and didn't even know you. Let's be real. I left you. I had leave you alone. I had to leave you alone because you wasn't going nothing, doing nothing, but holding me back. You didn't like me having motion and didn't like me making money. You hated on me. Telling my full story in a few. We had no relationship problems. Only when I would get to looking cute and getting money, this girl would only want to be with me if I'm broke and not looking my best. Now, we've talked about this before, that people can be in relationships and be jealous of you, be your biggest hater. So I don't know the ins and outs of what really went on in their relationship, but I'm not denying that could have been, because some people are jealous of you, and some people are so possessive and controlling over you. They don't want you being cute. They don't want you to have emotion. They don't want you having your own money, getting your own opportunities. They want to keep you at a level where you're depending on them, or where you are not having as much confidence and dimming your light. So I'm not denying, because I can't, because I wasn't there, if that happened or not. But regardless of what happened with the breakup, to expose somebody at their lowest moments, the personal things that they've gone through on social media, for what? If you want to cuss her out privately and tell her, that's not cool, I was there for you, da 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 da, how do you do me like this? That's y'all personal business. But to air that out and expose how she looked in the hospital and saying that you did all these things for her, that's not cool. And I think that that's one of the craziest things that people can do. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, when people are mad at you, or when you break up and all of a sudden they want to start throwing up in your face what they've done for you, throwing in your face what you've shared with them, your vulnerable moments, and all these, low times. Like, it really is a reflection of someone's character when they start doing that. Realist says, I actually literally just seen that a little while ago. Yep. Her response to the girlfriend doing that. Yeah, and she looked devastated that the girl did that, and embarrassed. And it's like, again, if she wanted to share her journey of healing with us, with her fans, or with the world, she would have. But she didn't. She clearly wanted to heal in private. That's why nobody really knew what was going on with her. That's why she came back, popped out looking different, because she's been going through things privately. So why would you take your silly ass on Instagram and post this because you're mad at her, because you felt like she was a hater in y'all relationship, or whatever it is that y'all went through? That's just not cool. Retaliation with anything, whether it's revenge photos that are like sexual, I think that's lame as hell when people expose that. Some low moments. There have been, and I get it, when you're arguing with somebody, sometimes blows, you come to blows on some verbal attack type stuff, and you feel like you want to do the most to hit people below the belt. I personally believe that there are certain things that should be, there's a line that's drawn when it comes to arguing. You don't want to have to go that low. And now sometimes people go low and you want to go to hell. I get that too. But does it have to be public? Because I've gotten into it with somebody where I had some pictures that was like, girl, you talking all this shit. But this was some young girl stuff. Let me just reference this situation where, when I was going through my divorce or my separation from my ex, I was staying with a friend at the time, and her sister lived in this apartment. All of a sudden, her sister stopped liking me when I moved in. Like, we never had any problems until I moved there. And so I remember specifically cleaning up the whole house, or the areas that I would be in, the living room, the kitchen, all of that, before I left to go out of town. When I came back and walked in the house, there was shit everywhere. Pizza boxes, trash overflowing, stuff all in the living room, stuff in the bathroom. So something told me, take pictures of this. And then when we got into an argument, a big fallout, me and the sister and all that, that's something that if I wanted to be petty, I could have went to Facebook. I had so many Facebook friends back then before my page was hacked. I could have blasted them on Facebook and said, this is how these folks live, and da da da. Why would I do that? Like, you were my best friend at one point, and that's your little sister. I don't fuck with her, but I don't have to do that. But I sent it to your ass in the text. Like, girl, how you talking about this about me? But this, and it was a specific reason why the picture was taken, because she was trying to make it seem like I was the messy one at the house. Girl, that ain't me. I've been gone for a week and a half, and I cleaned the spot up before I left. So what's this? So I just feel like, if you're going to hit below the belt, do it privately. And honestly, I feel like we grown at this point, at this big age. We're not kids. We're not in our early 20s and our teens. Like, there's a way to argue and disagree respectfully. But was the love ever there? And I get, because we don't really know the ins and outs of the relationship and what really went on. I don't know what's made her angry enough to publicly share this, and I'm not excusing that, but sometimes, with her saying, I helped you, I nursed you, and this and this and that, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with people throwing up what they've done for you in your face, because if you love me and you did it for me, then let that have been out of love and leave it there. But on the flip side, I understand when people act like you've never done anything for them or never been there for them or never the things that you have done for them out of love never existed. We talked about that yesterday when it comes to sometimes families will gaslight you and make it seem like they have no recollection of things. So that could have been done privately if it was something where she was making it seem like she's never been there for her or whatever. Like, girl, I was there for you. I nursed you. I got you back to health. I did this, and that in a private conversation, not to be blasted and talked about on social media. I think that's messed up. So I wish them luck and healing when it comes to that. I think Young M.A looks like she is still hurting from just her experience with what she went through being that sick and going through this breakup or whatever. You could see the pain in her eyes, and she needs some healing too, because even she was talking about in a song that she was kind of talking about her experience, she was saying that the music industry doesn't seem the same. So it seems as if she's going through a lot of different transitions and shifts in her life, and so sending healing energy her way as well. What are y'all thoughts about people doing that type of thing? Revenge, exposing, blasting out on social media, things of that nature. Some things we just can't come back from, and that's why I feel like there should always be boundaries when it comes to crossing, overstepping those lines, because at some point you can't take things back. There's certain things that you just cannot take back. I feel you on that. Okay, so one more topic I wanted to get into before we wrap this thing up. I wasn't going to talk about it because I really didn't want to get into it, but I just been seeing so much about it on my timeline that we got to talk about it. So yesterday, before we go on, Commander Alpha Turkey says it's nasty and of low moral value. Absolutely. It is. So yesterday, I didn't really get too deep into the Jonathan Majors trial. I saw the highlights of it. I saw the think pieces. I saw people going back and forth on whether or not they thought he was guilty or innocent. But last night, apparently, there was an audio leaked of him admitting to strangling his ex in so many words. Then today, all of a sudden, him and Megan Good got married after just 4 months of being engaged. I really feel like they hadn't even been engaged 4 months. That's what they said, but I feel like they just got engaged. Anyway, they got married. His mother officiated the wedding, and her mother was the witness. So it's giving, as he's rebuilding his image and his character, and he's had Megan Good on his arm supporting him through this trial, and they're, trying to make everybody believe that this is a real relationship and they have real love for each other, which maybe they do. I don't have an opinion either way on that. But all of a sudden, after this leaks, they're married within 24 hours or less. So it's a little suspicious. I don't know. It's very suspicious. Yes. Realist says, I seen he got a movie that's coming out, ironically. I saw that too. And I saw he had a magazine photo spread and everything to promote it. And it's a lot going on. And I know that there's Hollywood and there's Hollyweird. I know a lot of the things that we see that us people that aren't in the industry are just shown, and we're supposed to just take it as face value. But some of us that are deep thinkers, maybe conspiracy theorists, maybe, have a little intuition, we're seeing that some of this shit is a facade. So I don't know if their relationship is real or not. I just think it's quite suspicious that after this audio leaked, all of a sudden his mama's officiating the marriage and her mom is there. But she was just talking about how he's really close with her dad and how she'll come home and he's out barbecuing with the dad, and the dad cuts his hair, and she has her sister and her brother-in-law Eric Bellinger and nephews, and like I get, she's been married before. Maybe she's like, I don't need a big wedding, I don't need a bunch of people to be there, like let's just love each other, get married, let's do this. But it seems a little strange. Like, you don't want your father there, you don't want your sister, your brother-in-law, your nephews. What's going on? I don't know. Why the rush? Yeah, so it's everybody is pretty much trying to figure out what the hell going on. Some people are speculating that she's competing with her ex-husband. So she was married to Devon Franklin, the pastor, and now he just got engaged a couple of weeks ago to his woman. So I don't know what the hell is going on, but I've tried to stay out of it. And I saw this post. I've been seeing posts today on Threads and other places with people talking about, like, are we as a Black community standing behind Jonathan Majors and rooting for him and assuming that he's innocent because the woman that he was with was a white woman, and now he's with Megan Good? Are we trying to stand in solidarity with him simply because this was a white woman? And we know how a lot of these dynamics can happen with Black men dating white women. You all of a sudden you getting the police called on you, you come up killed, unalive. There's a lot of things that have happened in our history when it comes to interracial dating. And then the whole video of her chasing him through the city. We really don't know what to believe. But I would have to say that if he strangled this woman, I'm not going to give an excuse. I know sometimes people can get crazy and, aggressive, and you might feel like you need to restrain somebody. Unless somebody is trying to unalive you, I don't see a reason for any man to be strangling a woman. As someone who has been strangled before, it is not fun. It's extremely scary. And it is really one of the signs that a man would go as far as unaliving you. If a person strangles you in a domestic violent type of situation, they are more likely to unalive you. So I know the first time that I left my ex was after being strangled. I had never been strangled before. Y'all know when we were kids and we played that game where, I don't know if y'all did it, but a lot of us in childhood in the 90s, it was like cousins would be like, okay, take some deep breaths. And then literally they would pin each other up against the wall and go like this and choke each other until they passed out. That was a game that we used to play as kids, but I never would play that because I was always scared. I always been scary. I don't do no risky shit. So I've never experienced nobody choking me to the point of passing out. So when me and my ex got into it, I had been in a domestic violence relationship with him. I've talked about it on my YouTube channel as I've gone into detail about certain events that have happened. But this particular time, I remember he was in the shower. Excuse me. Trigger warning for anybody that has experienced any domestic violence or is triggered by violent conversations. So I remember he had his phone in the bathroom on the sink. I won't give all the details because I don't want to give away who exactly I'm talking about. But I'll say is I went through his phone while he was in the shower. I saw some conversations with women that I didn't find appropriate. I confronted him about it. He got out the shower and just started swinging on me. And the fight went from the bathroom to the bedroom, which was right there. And all I remember is him being on top of me and choking me. And I remember I couldn't do anything with his strength. And so I was like, I just remember tapping saying stop. And the next thing you know, I was out. And then the next thing I remember is him still hitting me as I woke up from being unconscious. So that is like one of the most terrifying things to experience, because you really don't know if you're going to wake up. And to have somebody to strangle you and you're physically incapable of getting them off of you is one of the most frightening things to experience. So if Jonathan Majors did strangle his ex, regardless of her race, regardless of what the hell they had going on in their relationship, that could possibly be a dangerous man. And I'm not saying that all people cannot heal from some of the things they've done in their past. I appreciate it. Um, I'm not saying that it's not possible for people to unlearn and heal from some of the things that they've done, or some of the violent tendencies that they have, or some of the abusive patterns that they have picked up along the way from their childhood, or from their traumas, or from their environment, or whatever it is they've gone through. But a lot of times, once an abuser, always an abuser. So some people are concerned for Megan Good. They're thinking that, could he possibly be abusing her? If he's not doing it now, could this be the love bombing phase, and this, abuse can come at a later time? Why is she such in a rush? They're questioning her intelligence. They're questioning if she's competing with her ex. They're questioning if this is a PR move. I don't know. But I will say, I really hope that that's not the I mean, if he admitted to it on audio, then it is what it is. I'm just hoping that Megan is safe, that maybe he's changed, maybe he's done some healing that we don't know about. And I just wish her the best, and hopefully, he doesn't repeat patterns. So I was reading this post that this lady had made on Threads. She was talking about, she said, on Jonathan Majors, when I was 14, I did something my mom didn't like. So she grabbed me by my throat, hoisted me in the air till my legs were dangling off the ground, and tore my favorite bunny pajamas that I had since I was 7 years old from my body. I told my aunts and my grandma, and everyone told me I was overreacting and that it couldn't have been that serious, and no one asked me if I was okay. My mom later apologized for ripping the pajamas. I have never gotten into a fight and never been in an abusive relationship, because I have had my fair share of being hurled across rooms and something with things, hit with things. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Then I got married and I said, "You don't control me." And my husband chokeslammed me into the bed. The first person I called after the cops was his sister, who told me not to cry in front of the kid, it would scare them. The second person I called, my sister, told me to recant my statement to the police, told me to lie to the nurses while I was hyperventilating in the hospital, because Black men in America have it so hard. My aunt that I had called the first time apparently said, he if he only did it once, there's no point in leaving. And she said, I told everyone that would listen, and it was a tear before anyone said that was wrong. I don't know what she meant by that. It must be a typo. She said, even though people who strangle you are more likely to kill you, because it it would be one of the most heinous things a person can do to another. My husband now makes $1 million a year working for Google, training AI to find and do cute little things, and finds more ways to be a menace from a distance. There's audio of him talking about the strangling too. I want y'all to be quiet on Megan, because I can assure you no one will keep the same energy for him as you guys will have tearing her down. Do I want safety for her? Yes. Can I guarantee that society always supports strength? Yes. I know more than anything that ruining the life of that man won't happen, but all the pity and judgment that falls on the victim might just result in a victim finishing the job. She said, I had the means and left, but I know now deep in my bones undoubtedly that help will never come for me. I know inherently that bad people can and feel for bad things, and everyone will watch in silence. I'm as safe as I can be, so no need to worry, but know that a person of means can do absolutely anything they want. You will never know the ever present fear of knowing that someone can take you out of this world and there will be absolutely no consequences because they have wealth and power. And that is unfortunate. I think I was recently talking about um, R. Kelly with a group of people, and people were mentioning with his ex-wife Drea Kelly or other people that experienced abuse from him, like why didn't they leave? And people love to talk about why folks don't leave abusive relationships. It's already a challenging thing to do when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't have any resources. They just have strength, or they have, they're threatening you to harm you or your family, or they just have your mind gone, because that is a thing. People can manipulate you. People can get into your head and have you just there to do whatever it is that they want you to do. Somebody can have you psychologically tripped out. Somebody can have you spiritually in a damn trance, emotionally connected, drained, isolated from your family, whatever. But when you add all of those elements along with money and power, it is even more scary. That's why we saw Cassie with Diddy. People trying to say, why didn't she leave? This man had folks' cars getting blown up in their parking in their driveways. Like, there's a fear that comes along with escaping somebody that is abusive, especially when they have the resources to do something to you or to your family. And so I wanted to share that story with people because um, with her sharing what she went through with her mom, and then how everybody kind of swept it under the rug, and then she ended up getting choke slammed by her ex-husband, or maybe they're still married but separated. And everybody telling her, oh, don't try to ruin him, don't say anything, don't do, like, it's unfortunate, but that does happen in a lot of families, and certain dynamics. I know when that happened to me, I called, let me see, did I call anybody? I didn't tell anybody during that time, other than one homegirl that I borrowed her car. No, actually, I had a car. I let her borrow my car while I skipped town, and I left town on the first thing smoking the next day, and stayed away for like 3 weeks. Then the second time and the last time that we got into it, which I detailed on, um, there's an episode on my channel. I want to say it's called Who's Gonna Protect Us, possibly. That might be the episode. It's a two-part. Is it a two-part? I think it's one on YouTube. It's two-part on Spotify. But when that happened, our last fight, where I'm like, this enough is enough, I called his father, his stepfather, his mother, his cousins, and it wasn't the urgency that needed to be. Like, if you know what your son or your cousin or whoever he was, to the person I reached out to, then did what they done did, and all you got to say is, one, his stepfather and his mother was like, oh, we'll take care of it, we'll see about it tomorrow. It was before it went down, but it was like happening, and then, like, it was leading up to the fight, and then they were like, oh, we'll talk to him tomorrow, because I think it was his stepdad's birthday, unfortunately. um his dad, I called him once it happened, and he was kind of like, oh, well, yeah, he just like his daddy. So you bonding over the fact that he's abusive like you? Mm. His cousin, I think I think he said he would call him, but he wasn't calming down for nobody. So it's just like, it's unfortunate that you don't always have people to go to. And if I was raised not really to, not to call the police on your people either. But then when you are vulnerable, or you in a situation where you don't have enough strength to match somebody else's strength, and you don't have a village to support you, or you don't want to reach out to your village because you don't want them to be in harm's way, what other options do you really have? So it is, in the Black community, it's frowned upon to call the police on your people, but your people don't need to be trying to hurt you. That's the point I'm trying to make. So I think that That's why I always say vetting is so important, and being around people's folks and trying to see what type of character their people have as well. Not just them, but like, where did you come from? What are their habits? What are your family dynamics? Like, how do y'all get along? How do y'all resolve conflict? What's the history and the patterns in this family? And it's only so much vetting you can do because people are good at hiding things, but it's really good to check those things out before you get too serious with somebody. And when an ex is trying to warn you about certain things, every now and then it could be a hater, but sometimes you need to listen to what the hell they're talking about because they might be saving you from a world of trouble. So I just hope that Megan Good is safe. We're going to wish her well. I want to say congratulations on the marriage, but I don't know. I don't feel, when I look at them, when I hear her talk about him, it sounds genuine, but she's an actress. So I don't fucking know. It's not for me to figure out, but I don't feel the authenticity of the relationship just from looking at it. So I don't know. Realist says, honestly, for me, family and relatives are two completely different things. Absolutely. I talked about that yesterday too. Creating your own village, creating your own family, choosing the people, choosing your family. But yeah, absolutely. Relatives, you born in the same family, but that doesn't guarantee the bond or the loyalty or the support. So anyway, y'all tell me y'all thoughts on that. Do you think that what's the name, Jonathan Majors, is he a fool or is he just misunderstood? Is the relationship real or are they playing games? Is this a PR move? I don't know. Even like the cast of Harlem, I love the show Harlem. They just had their final season, and when they were going on their press tour, some of her castmates were speaking up about her relationship with Jonathan as well. And they were like, it's a genuine relationship. Like, who's going to pretend to be in a relationship and be in love? And again, when Megan talks about him, it seems so genuine and authentic and like real. But then when I see them on red carpets and stuff, and I'm seeing all this pop up engagement, pop up quick marriage, it's interesting. And then the fact that they got together while he was on trial, like in real life, let's take their professions out of it. Let's take the fact that they're famous and that they are, probably well off. I don't know their pockets, but I'm sure they make a decent living. Just imagine an average man and woman, they meet. If I meet a I'm gonna just have to say it. If I meet a nigga and he on fucking trial for domestic violence, why is that the time when I want to start getting to know him and showing up to court being his ride or die? You don't find that suspicious in my Dr. Umar voice, but I digress. Anyway, y'all, we talked a lot about toxicity, trauma, inappropriate timing, and inappropriate behaviors from exes and domestic violence on this episode. These are the things that I support people with, with coaching, healing, self-love, self-discovery, healing from toxic relationships, abusive relationships, divorce, breakups, whatever it is. One single step at a time is my 6-week program. It is all about healing specifically from heartbreak, breakups, toxic relationships, all of that. So it's 6 weeks. It's guided. You got all kind of exercises, activities, and things for you to do and follow along with. You get coaching that comes along with that every week. And you get a free copy of How to Be Single, the guided journal. It's a great program. People that have entered the program, they're totally transformed in those 6 weeks. And most of them continue to do coaching sessions afterwards just to have that accountability and have that moment of someone holding space for them. And that's available to you as well if you just need me to hold space for you and unpack certain aspects of your life that don't necessarily have to do with breakups and you just want to coach. You can always book a discovery call with me and we can figure out the coaching session program for you. And then if you want to just do the work and you're not interested in the guidance or the coaching right now, you can always grab How to Be Single. I have another program called 5 Ways in 5 Days, helping you to uncover any blockages you may have with giving and receiving love. It helps you to incorporate the love languages into your daily acts of self-love and self-care. You can do it in as little as 5 days as a challenge. Every day do the work, and it comes with a free session, or you have up to 60 days to do the work and get your free session. Yeah, so another thing, if you're a businesswoman, businessman, influencer, creative, an entrepreneur, or you just have some great ideas that you don't know what to do, you want to learn how to utilize and monetize your gifts, show up on social media, you need a plan, a content plan, a content schedule, or you want to learn how to set up some digital products that you can start making money on today, ebooks, e-courses, whatever it is that you want to do, book you a strategy session, get it done. Getting people together, getting their plans knocked out, we're getting their niche together. We're getting their ebooks created, all of the things. Content strategy tab on my website, oshacerese.com, and you can go ahead and just book your strategy session and get started immediately, making money and getting into your bag. Also, if you are an intentional dater, a hopeful romantic, looking for love in 2025, wherever you at, you need to be on Intentional Love Collective. It's linked in my bio. It is available to singles right now to join so that I can curate events, match make you with the right person with your preferences, your desires, and your values in mind. So I got some events coming up soon that I'll be announcing, speed dating, singles events, and opportunities to work with me. And I got some other things. Y'all just I'm working on it. I'm working on it behind the scenes. You might not see it all the time, but I'm working on it. It's good. It's good. We going up in 2025. There's gonna be some great things that happen. So make sure you join the Intentional Love Collective. Make sure you're subscribed to YouTube. I need some more subscribers, y'all. My milestone was supposed to be 200 for this week, and where we at? 181. So hook me up. I need 19 followers to send this out to people that you know. Send my page to them. Tell them they need to be following me, subscribing to me to get in on these conversations. Again, I said I was going to start having guests soon. So there's going to be opportunities for that as well. And yeah, let's get into these journaling prompts based on what we talked about today. So how do you honor someone's legacy while navigating your own healing? I think that is a great question, because even like what I just said about Angie Stone and Monique not having the appropriate timing with that, or using her as a platform, sometimes, you know, it's a thin line between that. And I think this is not really comparable to that, but like, imagine somebody that has done you wrong and you're trying to preserve their legacy because they're a pillar in the community, or they're a parent, or they have, people that you don't want to look at them a certain way, or maybe they've passed on or whatever. Do you have to preserve the things that you've gone through in order to, or hold back, reserve what you've gone through to preserve their legacy? Thank you so much, Realist. He said he's going to share me out. I appreciate that. So again, how do you honor someone's legacy while navigating your own healing? Next prompt, how do you know when it's time to release your need for an apology and move forward? Because again, with Monique and the healing that she is seeking through a public apology from Tyler Perry, I don't even know if it's all about the apology. I kind of feel like if he cut the check, she would move on. But if it is about the apology, unfortunately, sometimes we don't get the apology from the people who have harmed us. So sometimes we have to do the healing work without the apology, without the accountability, without the support. And I'm wishing healing for her. But how do you know when it's time to release your need for an apology and move forward? And what boundaries can you set to protect your story from being exploited by others? And I'm going to add not just story, but even like anything vulnerable that you've shared with somebody. Because people now they're exposing explicit pictures or videos that you've shared with them, or that they've taken in privacy. If a woman or a man feels comfortable enough with you to be intimate and have it filmed, or to send you intimate photos or sexy photos, That's something, that's a big deal for somebody to feel safe enough to do that with you. And for you to get mad, or you to feel like you want to clout chase or whatever by exposing that, posting it, releasing it, that's so lame to me. And I'm so glad that they have revenge porn laws so you could sue their ass or press charges. And the biggest person that got a taste of that was Rob Kardashian, when he got mad about Black China. I don't know if she was cheating or what she had going on. And he decided he wanted to expose her pictures of her vulva and her naked body on Instagram. And she sued his ass. And it was public and it was messy, but it also was a statement to everybody that, first of all, that's lame as hell. And second of all, there's consequences. Um, he can't even technically be on Instagram anymore because of that. So his mother has to say that she's managing his page. And so you have to be careful with things that you share, whether that's your story, personal um, personal things that you've been through, vulnerabilities, or intimate photos or videos. But again, what boundaries can you set to protect your story from being exploited by others? All right, we did it. Episode 40 in the books. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. Share this, come back, like, share, and subscribe, comment, do all the things. And send my page to your friends and tell them to subscribe and tell them about what you like about my page. I hope to see y'all back tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. I will talk to y'all later.